For me, it's more long term. Like, we've had some really good wins, and this was been 5-6 months since we've been working together. It's all starting to come together now with that follow up and nurturing. First one I got was roughly $1.5 million in value, which is great. That come in inquiry 6 o'clock in an afternoon. I was on the doorstep 7:30 p.m. And listed it the next day. The other one, which is probably $2 million value property, that one there was more of a long burn actually. So that one was probably 2 months worth of follow up,
right?
And keeping front of mind and all the rest. So just getting those 2 properties to market this month.
Will, it's been like, I think it's been 4-5 rough odd months since we started working together. I just want to rapid fire through some questions. So my first question is, what do you do? What's your role? What are the areas that you're targeting, and what are the type of homes that you list?
So obviously, real estate agent. I'm focusing on the real $900 to $2 million price category homes along the coast here in Perth. So that's where I'm targeting, and obviously engaging you guys to help get us in the door and build database and just get in front of more people, which helps.
What were you doing in terms of numbers of listings and listing presentations before working with us, 3-4 months ago? And what are you doing now, 4 months in after starting with us?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, I went all guns blazing when I started. So obviously I started selling in March.
Yeah.
And that's when we come on board together with you guys. Obviously, I do all sorts of different types of prospecting to get indoors. But what was I doing? So at the moment, my numbers, I'll be doing 22 to 25 appraisals a month. And I would say you guys would be getting me 10 to 15 of those.
Yeah, decent.
A month. Decent. And then that's converting, like, for me, it's more long term. Like, we've had some really good wins, and this was been 5-6 months since we've been working together. It's all starting to come together now with that follow up and nurturing. So as we mentioned earlier before we started this call, first one I got was roughly $1.5 million in value, which is great. And that come in inquiry 6 o'clock in an afternoon. I was on the doorstep 7:30 p.m. And listed it the next day. So, which obviously that's a unicorn, right? But those sort of things can happen if you put yourself out there. And then the other one, which is probably $2 million value property, that one there was more of a long burn actually. So that one was probably 2 months worth of follow up, keeping front of mind and all the rest. So just getting those 2 properties to market this month, which is great.
Yeah, solid. So that $2 million one, that came in earlier on, but you just nurtured that relationship over time.
Correct. Yeah. So that one, probably about 3.5 months ago, and listed the middle of last month. So,
mate, love it.
Yeah.
And that's around about 70K in commissions, yeah?
In total. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good start. And then I'm only confident we'll keep building from here. Like, as you know, like your guys' job's just to get the inquiry, and it's our job to nurture it. Not everyone's just ready to sell their home as soon as they're putting a Facebook inquiry in. So the job comes in the nurturing, right?
You got to do that education, man. That's totally true. You got to help educate them. So what change that's been made to your actual day-to-day, running the business, also even outside of the business, how are things different since you've, got these kind of results through us?
There's a lot more activity, right? So the more activity you're doing, the more things happen for you. So like, for example, you get this North Beach listing or the $2 million listing, and then you're out door knocking or letterbox dropping around the area. And then you get in more doors, more appraisals, because you've got a reason to go and talk to people, which has actually happened. There's a door that I'm going to get into next week that's actually a $4 million house, just from randomly door knocking around the area. So it's just, I think it's all intangible, right? Like, I'm sure there's other activity I would have been doing if I wasn't there, But these are just the things that happen when you're out in the streets or you're out doing something.
That's great. I know it was a little while ago since we started, but do you remember why you decided to start working with us in the first place?
So for me, it was about having as many prospecting tools as I possibly could to get the momentum going.
Right.
I didn't just want to be relying on what I was doing each day when I knew that I could be putting money into other avenues to be doing the work for me as well, especially in places where you know that someone is better or more skilled in that area. So, for example, with social media kind of lead gen, if you know you're not good at it, you just delegate it from what you're good at. So for me, it's getting on the doors and being in front of people, working the registers of home opens, getting appraisals from that, and then going from there.
Yeah, totally. And why do you think our system works in getting these results and others don't?
It's a hard question because I haven't tried anyone else or any other system, right? So to answer that authentically, I wouldn't know. I think just from my experience with marketing and lead gen which is limited, but I've got a little bit, is make it easy for someone to inquire.
Yeah.
Which is good, and you are deliberate with your ads. Like you guys know what works, so you guys just rinse and repeat and tweak it and go from there. So that's where the trust comes into, that you guys know what you're doing. Yeah,
beautiful. And what has the process of working with us been like over the, let's say, the last 4 to 6 months?
Yeah, mate, it's been easy. Obviously, it's the message comes across when a lead comes in, and I just jump straight onto it. So it's a very simple system.
Yeah.
We have our check-ins once a month if we get there, and the feedback's always, what I like is the feedback's always taken on from you guys. You always pivot when needed, or if you say something's going to be done, it gets done, which is nice.
Yeah, beautiful. And the last question, what would you say to someone who has maybe been burnt in the past by another marketing company and is thinking of signing up with us, but isn't quite sure and they're on the fence?
I would say, look, there's a lot of probably scammers out there, but for me, obviously going through you guys, the doors I've been getting in, like, I think people need to understand that your guys' job isn't to just present you guys with all these hot, warm leads on a plate. The job is really you guys get someone that's interested, they're on the couch, they're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and they just happen to be interested in knowing what their property's worth. That doesn't necessarily mean they're going to sell the house. People need to take that burden on themselves. So it might not even be that the other agencies that people are using are bad. They may be, I don't know. But I think always look into what you're doing. Are you servicing better? Are you following up right? Or are you waiting days to get back to someone? What's the quality of the touch point like? There's so many different things if you think outside the box that you can be doing to stand out. Because that person might not be ready now, but they're ready in 6 months' time or 12 months' time or 2 years' time. It's just more database. It's someone that you wouldn't have had if you hadn't used someone like yourself. And also people need to just be doing their own prospecting. They can't just be relying on just one person to be bringing business in, right? So then that's pressure relief off again.
Yeah, spot on, man. Spot on. Yeah, I see that all the time with clients. They realize that there's a lot more to it than just like, receiving the lead and then hoping for the best that, this lead is, they're supposed to be, throwing themselves at me. They know very well that they require to educate and develop rapport, develop that relationship, understand the needs, the desires and wants for the prospects, and then obviously move that conversation forward through like a nurturing campaign of sorts. Cool, man. Thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate that.
No worries, man.